Hey guys, it's Shadow Kisses, and you're gonna have to excuse the mess that is my face and my hair, and I'm sick, so I'm sorry. Anyways, I figured this would be a good opportunity to fill everyone in after seeing the Instagram post last night. I am not dead. I'm okay, and thank you all very much for the get well wishes. Like, it really means a lot to me. But anyways, I guess I will go ahead and tell you guys what's been going on. It's kind of a little bit gross, and I'm gonna try and make this story time as funny as possible, because you gotta laugh at yourself. That's the only way you're gonna make it in this world. Yesterday, my grandma took me to an urgent care clinic because I thought I had strep throat and my doctor could not see me. And my tonsil was like swollen to the point where it was like taking up half of my throat, which is really strange to begin with because I've had my tonsils taken out when I was younger. And I mean, like, I've had strep throat I don't know how many times. Like, that's why I got my tonsils taken out, because they've always given me issues. So I went in to multi-care, and they told me it was going to be like a 3-hour wait. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and check in. Sorry, there's something on my desk, and I'm really OCD. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and check in, and you guys can, like, text me when it's getting close to my appointment. And they were like, yeah, no problem, because they do that. Shadow. She's thrashing around on the bed and being a monster. I'm sorry. But, so, the guy at the desk told me, he's like, oh, well, don't worry about it, you can come back in, like, 3 hours, which had been 2 p.m., and he's like, come back at like 2, and we'll be able to see you then. And I'm like, okay, great. So I go back home. My grandma and I kind of hang out and wait for my appointment. And then around 2 o'clock, we get back in her van, and she takes me down to the urgent care clinic again. They then tell me that people have been coming in with life-threatening emergencies into an urgent care clinic when, like, you're supposed to go to an emergency room if it is an emergency and it is life-threatening, which was kind of frustrating. But I mean, we do kind of live out in the middle of nowhere, so I understand why. But I went up to the desk and I'm like, hey, I'm here for my appointment, like, how much longer is it gonna be? And they're like, oh, it's gonna probably be like another 3 hours. And, like, at this point, I'm in so much pain, I can hardly breathe. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but my voice is all screwed up. But I was like, you know what, never mind, I'm just gonna go home. Like, I can come back tomorrow. My grandma decides that she's going to take me to Franciscan Healthcare. Great place, by the way, they really take care of people there. So we go there. I check in at the front desk. It takes 5 minutes for me to go back, and literally it takes another 2 minutes for a doctor to come in and see me. He comes in, does a little cotton swab thing on your tonsils. Like, if you've ever had a strep throat test done, you know what it is. It hurts. It hurts, it's very uncomfortable, and, like, he just, like, swabbed it really quick, sent it off to the lab, and he's like, okay, well, we're gonna wait for the results for this, and then we'll see how it goes. And then he proceeds to ask me about my kidney condition. Shadow. You turd. She's the center of attention always. Huh, baby girl. Anyways, then he proceeds to ask me about my kidney condition, which I guess this would be a good time to educate you guys, because it's not really a well-known thing. I have Gittleman syndrome. I'm sorry, this hood's driving me crazy, but I'm freezing. I have Gittleman syndrome, and it's basically a weird genetic glitch that came from both my parents because they were both carriers of the Gittleman syndrome gene, I guess is what it's called. And basically what it means is if you're both carriers of that, then when you have children, your kids are born with the Gittleman syndrome, and your kidneys flush out potassium and magnesium, and it can be really dangerous because you need magnesium and potassium to keep normal muscle function, and that also includes your heart. So it's quite scary, actually. But it's well managed with medications, which I take, so I rarely have to go to the hospital for that, but if I do, it's because my levels are super low. basically normal magnesium and potassium levels hover anywhere around like 4.0 and like I think like 3.5 and above. So that's a normal level. My levels and my sister's levels are usually around like 2.3 or like hers are a little bit better because they caught it sooner because I went like 10 years without taking medication for it. But hers are like around 3 point whatever. I don't really know because I don't look at her medical stuff. Yeah, so he starts asking me about a whole bunch of stuff like that, and like it hurts to talk. It still hurts to talk, but they gave me pain medication, so it's a little bit easier for me to talk right now. But we spend like the next 30 minutes waiting for the results to come back, and he's just like asking me a bunch of questions about that, and then he gets like this weird idea. He's like, do you mind if I like push my finger on your tonsil? He's like, it really doesn't look like strep throat to me. So I'm like, yeah, fine, whatever, it hurts, but if it's gonna help fix whatever's going on, then yeah. So he puts on a glove and like pushes on my tonsil, and then like it feels really strange, like there's something wrong. And he's like, I don't think that's strep throat, I think you have an abscess in your tonsil. Great, just my luck, right? And as he's telling me this, the nurse comes back in with the lab results for the swab. And she's like, you don't have strep throat, we don't know what this is. And the doctor looks at her and he goes, well, will you bring me a needle? And I'm like, what do you mean a needle? And he's like, oh, well, we can poke it here and we can see what's going on. And I'm like, no, not unless you can numb me up. I will fight. Especially if there's a needle anywhere near my mouth. I don't like dentists either. He tells me, okay, well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you check in to the emergency room, which is like a good hour drive away from where I am. And he wanted me to stay there for 24 hours on an antibiotic IV drip. And I was like, okay, fine, I hate hospitals, but if that's what it's gonna take. And he's like, you gotta go, because if this is an abscess, this could be life-threatening. He's like, you could go a week without treatment and then end up dead. And I'm like, that's great and cheerful, thank you. I get back out into the van where my grandma's waiting for me, and I tell her what's going on. And she's like, okay, let's drive you back home. We'll get you some clothes, we'll pack your stuff, and then I'll take you to the emergency room. And my poor grandma, bless her heart, she had already driven me all over Kingdom Come that day. But she wanted to make sure that I was alright. So we get back home, pack up my things. We head out to the ER. We get there really quick for an ER. Like, I barely got checked in at the front desk before they called me back, which is shocking. And trust me, I'm an expert at that sort of thing, so I've been to the hospital so many times. So I get back there, and then the nurse that, like, checks you in, like the ER intake or whatever it's called, she basically is, like, looking around, and she's like, yeah, we're probably gonna have to drain that. That looks like an abscess. And I'm like, fan-freaking-tastic. I'm so excited. We get taken back to a room. They put an IV port in me, which I am so sorry if I freaked any of you guys out with that picture and that stupid little smart-ass caption. That's my way of being funny when I'm sick. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I've got a really bad sense of humor when I'm not feeling good, so I'm sorry if I made any of you guys worry. I am okay, I promise. We get back into the ER room, and then the doctor comes in and he's like, okay, well, we're gonna have you like gargle with lidocaine, which is basically like the stuff that they put on your gums before they actually stick a needle in to numb you at the dentist. So I'm like, okay, I won't be able to feel the needle at all then. So I gargle with it, and then he's like, okay, you can swallow it, and I swallow it, and like my whole face is numb at this point, and I'm like, great, I'm not gonna feel anything. I'm not gonna have a panic attack as this needle goes into my throat. And then I wait, and 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 it takes like a whole hour for the doctor to come back. And by this point, my face is not numb, my throat is not numb, I can feel everything, and I'm very freaked out. So he goes and he grabs more of this stuff, And apparently they had given me the kids stuff before because they're like, oh, it won't be that bad, it's just a little needle. So they gave me the adult stuff this time, finally. And I don't know why my hood keeps doing this. I'm sorry, it's cold in here and I'm literally like shivering. I'm sick. Just please forgive me for looking like crap today. So the doctor comes back and he's got the lidocaine stuff and he gives it to me and it's full strength. It's not the kids stuff from before. Like, I swear to God, my eyeballs went numb. Like, you can usually, like, feel your eyeballs. It's a really strange sensation, but everything in my face was just numb. And if you guys are squeamish at all, please skip ahead a little bit to just avoid this, because it freaked me out, and it happened to me. Like, even talking about it, it's like, ugh. Anyways, he waits until I'm completely numb, and then he starts like putting the needle in my tonsil. And the whole time I can hear this crazy horror music in the background. Like, it was in my mind, obviously, but like it was playing because it was just like intense. I felt like I was gonna be stabbed to death by this doctor because it hurt. And there was a needle in my throat, which is not a normal occurrence. He starts poking around and he's like, okay, well, let me know if you can feel any of this. And I'm like, I can feel it. Take it out. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna poke one more spot, and he poked it, and I gagged, and the needle went flying out of my mouth and fell to the floor. And he's like, I guess you really could feel it. And I'm like, yeah. So he goes and grabs another needle, gives me a little bit more lidocaine, waits until I am completely numb again, and then proceeds to drain the abscess. And it wasn't very much, but it was enough that it had caused my what should have been non-existent tonsil to protrude to the point to where it was hitting my uvula. And when he drained it, it shrank down about halfway. But that brings me to the next part. I'm probably gonna have to have surgery, which is great. I'm probably gonna have to have my tonsils removed, not once in my life, but twice. And it's really hard to recover from something like that when you're an adult. I don't know why, but surgeries like that are easier to recover from when you are like a teenager or a child. It's not fair. Adults need to recover quickly too. I have an appointment set up for Friday this week. I'm gonna go see a throat specialist, and he's gonna look at my tonsils and try and figure out what the best game plan is. But if I do have to have a surgery, I will try to record as many videos as I can in advance to where you guys aren't left hanging. That way I can just edit some videos and upload them during the weeks that I'm out of commission, basically. But I don't want to worry any of you guys. That's why I decided to make this video, even though I look like crap today. And I'm sorry you gotta look at me like this. I don't want to look at me. Anyways, guys, I love you all so much, and I'm sorry if this story grossed you out, or if you were worried at all. I'm fine, I swear to God. I'm tougher than I look, okay? I've been through a lot of really crappy situations, and this is, like, really low on the scale. So I will see you guys in the next one, and thank you all again so much for the get well wishes. It means the world. Like, I can't even tell you. And I will see you guys later. Bye!